Welcome to the July 20th, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness. There were a lot of 20s. It really screwed me up. Our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
You have to say a lot less than me. It's not fair.
I don't think I messed that part up yet. It's my own name.
Lotus King. Oh, shit.
Lotus 20... Shit.
Fuck. But anyway, we have some really interesting stuff that happened this week. So I think we should probably just get right into it. Considering that we had a lot of news last week about, the new Switch that everybody's kind of underwhelmed about. But yeah, I figure this is it's kind of interesting, the timing of this announcement, don't you think? The thing that Valve did.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes later.
Yeah. They're kind of taking the piss out of them almost, but. Yeah, Valve announced what they're calling the Steam Deck, which is...
Well, that also seems to be taking the piss, because Elgato for years has had the Stream Deck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like people started talking about both things, right? Around that time.
Like it's one type of way.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, people were, I think, talking about both things, which is pretty crazy when that came out. But yeah, I never heard of the Stream Deck. But
well, I mean, it's for if you're streaming. Like
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a reason to really know about that.
It's kind of so you can queue up like shortcuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a convenience thing.
Yeah, kind of like what you would do if you were a DJ, like for certain
something
functions
like that.
and sounds.
Yeah, it looks like a pad with some buttons on it.
Yeah. Well, this is like super interesting because like my first reaction is like, God, I hope like stuff is compatible with it. And apparently it is very compatible. Like it apparently is like the compatibility on it is supposedly phenomenal. Apparently it's supposed to work with everything that you have in your Steam library.
Yeah, this is basically a handheld Steam. So, like, it didn't take long for me to see parody articles, like, Valve releases the Switch Pro. It's like, there you go.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, it's supposed to run everything really well. I'm gonna wait personally until the reviews are out and people have stuff to say about it. But it seems like a lock. I mean, it seems really good. I don't know whether you can also stream it to televisions as well.
I think so.
Yeah. So apparently, it's just a portable PC that you can play all your entire existing library on, which is really cool. It has like functionality. It has like dual touchpads for like mouse use.
Yeah.
It has a D-pad, 4 face buttons, 2 analog sticks, and shoulder buttons, just like you would for anything else. Double shoulder buttons for anything else. So it's pretty cool that they're giving you like mouse controls and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I was going to mention about that. A lot of modern games are simultaneously developed for PC and for consoles. So your handhelds, analog stick and shoulder buttons and face buttons are all you need. But some older games really need keyboard and mouse stuff, so every little extra bit helps.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have something like Tron 2.0, which came out during the era of, like, the original Xbox, and, like, it it made it to the original Xbox, but like it was kind of compromised. So you want to play
Sure.
the PC version. But yeah, that game's like entirely mouse driven. Something like The Witcher, for instance, the original Witcher is completely mouse driven.
Well, the original Witcher, excuse me.
Yeah, the original.
Okay, for just a second, I was thinking of Witcher 3, and I'm like, yeah, it's on Switch.
No. Switch. I was about to say
Switcher,
3.
yeah, but no, there's a game called Swapper, but the original Witcher is exclusively PC, so it's designed around that.
Yeah. In fact, it kind of even feels like almost like almost like an Icewind Dale game in a way, only a little bit more actiony, that kind of thing. But I almost like it's real close to like a Knights of the Old Republic game, I would say. But like more actiony than those games, but still.
Yeah, instead of KOTOR, it's more like Witcher.
But anyway, can't handle this. Lotus, I wasn't prepared for the shtick.
Yeah, you're fired.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a winner. I mean, I think it's like I of course want to hear about how well it performs and how finicky the mouse controls are for like old games, because like I would love to like play like old school adventure games on the go without having to like futz with like
that's the thing, like
emulation and stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing is like, when you used to live at your parents' house, you were all about getting the best versions of games, but like in more current times, you're more about portability for convenience because you're busy so often. But like this could be the best of both worlds. It's gonna have a lot more range than the Switch, because it's like every single freaking PC game, and it's not like a top tier PC because that's unreasonable, but it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, I have a really large Steam library too, so I mean, it only makes sense to like expand my accessibility.
Yeah, this is from what I've heard about the specs, it's like a high middle end PC, I think,
which is perfect.
Yeah,
for
which is what most people have anyway.
I mean, you don't need to run anything in 4K if your screen is small.
Nah,
you know what I mean. Like you could just run it. You honestly don't even really need to run it in 1080. I mean, like 720 is really good for a small.
Yeah.
For a small screen. So I mean 1080. I guess you can notice it, but like the pixels are so small at that point. Like who cares?
But you only really notice it if it's like, like the PS TV and you hook it up to an actual TV.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it's not portable anymore.
Yeah. It's just like, your home TVs can like only ever really need to go up to 4K. I mean, I'm sure they'll try to sell us 8K at some point, but like it's stupid because like film that they filmed movies on forever.
Yeah, in like the 60s.
Only goes up to 8K, and that was blown up against a huge stadium wall.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah, like there are what are they called? Like the Jumbotron, but like you don't have one of those and you don't want one of those.
Yeah, I mean like a movie theater screen, it was designed for resolutions around 8K, the equivalent of 8K.
Yeah, like it was meant to fill a room. Like you don't have that at your house.
No. I mean the biggest TVs you could buy are you could maybe get a 90-inch, but they're very rare.
Yeah.
Like 70 inches is pretty common, but like anything bigger than that is ridiculous. Nobody has like a mount or anything for that size or anything like that. Like 90 is like the ultimate top, I think. I can't think of anything bigger than that. I think it's like it may even be illegal to buy it, technically show like sports on a TV that big. Like anything bigger than 90, because like it's technically a performance.
At that point it's like public broadcasting.
Exactly, it's so big that even though it's in a public space or a private space.
Well, I'm wondering where that would go, because I remember there was a point where I think somebody, I don't remember what entity it was, but tried putting a stop to. Oh, this is gonna kill me. I forgot what it was, but it was like. It wasn't recordings of this, but it was maybe like something to do with like audiobooks, but where like other people could hear it. But they were like, dude, if you put the kibosh on that, then you're basically banning read-alouds in school. Like, get the hell out of here. Like,
yeah. The implications down the line.
It's like, what are you
really
doing?
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back to it, I think this is a really good move for them. I've always been begging for a portable Windows machine, and this isn't that, but it might as well be.
It's
right?
close, yeah.
Yeah, it might as well be, because you may not be able to run Windows off of it, but it can play anything that a Windows machine can, provided that you have bought it through Steam. So I'm really excited. I mean, like, I buy most of my games on PC through Steam anyway, and I have a lot of indie games on there that I haven't had a chance to play. And I have a lot of games to catch up on too, like Witchers and stuff like that. So I'm excited. I mean, of course, I didn't pre-order it right away. I am a cautious buyer normally, unless it's a Nintendo product, because usually Nintendo products don't have launch issues. But usually they're reasonably priced compared to their competitors, so I usually just buy those right away. But I wait on most of them, and I think this is going to be a slam dunk, though. And they've talked about the durability of the system, and they're also like they specifically address that they are going to make sure that there are no drift problems.
That's another wink.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, like, the Switch will still have its place. I mean, a lot of people were going to say, "Oh, here comes the death of the Switch," and I can't.
No, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense because, like, it's still the same games. Yeah. Like, Nintendo should have been dead forever ago if this was the competitor. The fact that it's portable, I get it. The Switch is also portable, but, like, it's apples and oranges. The Switch has ports and a bunch of first-party titles that no one else has.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Nintendo is really is successful, and it's because the strength of their first-party development is I don't think anybody really beats them. Honestly, in terms of first-party development, they're one of the greatest developers of all time, and they continue to be. And, despite what you think about their hardware or some of their policies, you can't take that away from them. They've made revolutionary games that have changed the entire landscape many, many times throughout time and recently. I mean, Breath of the Wild is considered an all-time classic immediately when it came out. And it changed the way that, that type of game was structured. So, I mean, it borrowed from a lot of other places, but it also did its own things that were revolutionary as well. So it's one of those things where you can't count out Nintendo because their IP are just so well produced, and their third party sales are going to be complemented by it. And this might be the best time they've ever had with third-party developers, honestly, and it's been mostly with indie developers. I mean, there are plenty of third-party games on the Switch, and they do well, but there are tons and tons of indie developers on there. I can't tell you the amount of like crazy like anime girl mahjong games there are every single week.
Yeah, for real.
Which is kind of funny considering the audience. But it's you can't count them out. They're for two separate audiences, and I happen to be in part of the Venn diagram of both. But I think it's a slam dunk. I think it's really neat. I don't have much else to say on it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a portable person, so this isn't for me. But this seems like a brilliant product.
Yeah, you could see why somebody would like this, right?
What you got to do is Half-Life Alyx portably, so it's like there's no way you could control that game properly because you have to hold the thing. You're just running around with your little tablet. Although I have seen some amusing memes already with like oh, I got killed in Team Fortress 2 and I was so mad, and it's like a Photoshop picture of like the tablet broken in half and stuff like that. It just cracks me up. Or like, like me playing games, and like you like it's like a whole bunch of girls at a party just looking at the camera like, what the fuck, and you see like Geralt in the bathtub in Witcher 3 on the tablet. It's great.
Well, you can absolutely like see this kind of happening, this kind of thing happening.
It's just funny to me.
Like, yeah. Well, moving on from that, a lot of the other news was not like super big stuff, but like it was just like exciting stuff for like enthusiasts like us. So first one being you mentioned this one to me, and I saw it around the same time. But feel free to talk about Powerslave here.
Yeah, now, unfortunately, I don't have much to say because I don't know the game, and
okay.
I know it's different, but I always think Slave Zero first, and I'm like, the Dreamcast game? But Powerslave is an FPS with, I believe, Egyptian aesthetic, and yes. It's going to be getting the Night Dive treatment, because this is one of those games that's just fallen off the wayside, and people who played it remember it, and they're like, what a great game, but so it's finally going to come back.
This game is really interesting. So there is a PlayStation, Saturn, and PC version, and apparently the Saturn version's like the good one.
Okay, I was gonna say there's differences. Yeah,
they're all different, and they're all structured differently. And I believe this is supposed to be for the Saturn one, the one that everybody likes.
Oh, that's interesting then, because Night Dive exclusively does PC ports.
Well, not really. They also did Doom 64.
They did, but that was a fudge because they used the fan mod PC version.
I was just gonna get that. Yeah. Powerslave is the same situation.
Okay, all right, we still got it.
And they all of a sudden the fan mod disappeared off the internet about a year ago, and now we know why. They got probably approached by Night Dive.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Hey,
why
don't you sell this instead of just putting it out?
Well, you know what this means?
What's that?
Maybe we can get a PC revival of number 1, Resident Evil 1 OG on PC. Number 2, Resident Evil Saturn version PC mod, should such a thing exist. Come on now.
Don't
get
me
unique costumes. Get me battle mode.
But I actually have the latest release of the fan version of this, and it was excellent. It is so much fun to play, and way better than playing it on the Saturn because you can play it with mouse and all that stuff.
That's true. That was another thing about. I mean, same idea. They're both FPSs, but same idea with Doom 64. Yeah. Like, playing Doom with a 64 controller, like, the game was specifically designed with the 64 controller in mind because it was only ever released on that. But playing with PC Doom controls, like, come on. Like, it feels so good.
feels good, man. So, Powerslave is also known as Exhumed in other territories, which is probably a better...
Yeah. When I hear Powerslave, I think of, like... Even though it doesn't quite make sense, I think of, like... just computer terminology from the 80s with the Master Slave. Like, Powerslave? Is it computers?
I think of that as well, but yeah, and Exhumed, it makes more sense because it's like Pharaoh, themed and all that stuff.
Sure.
But, so what's cool about this is it kind of has a almost Metroidvania structure. You go back and forth to levels after you've gained abilities.
Oh, so this is like Hexen, kind of?
Almost like Hexen, yeah.
Hexen was keys more than abilities, but...
Yeah, it's pretty cool because you get abilities and you can finally traverse certain areas and then go off and to different parts of the map, the overworld.
That's cool.
So this is a really cool game, and I'm really glad about it because it was owned by Playmates, I think, like the company that did Earthworm Jim,
okay,
and Ninja Turtles. So I don't know who has that IP now, but they made it happen for an obscure but beloved game that was getting more and more attention because of the fan mod, and the fan mod is really, really good. So. This is going to be a good one that you're going to want to pick up if you're into retro FPSs, especially like underserved ones. This is a really good one. from that time period. So I've played it and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The gunplay is fun, and the novelty of having a structure like that during a time in which that was not a common thing. It's still really not a common thing.
Yeah, for an FPS, yeah, like there was Hexen, there was Metroid Prime. Obviously, that's going to be a Metroidvania, but in the first person, but I don't tend to hear about it that much in general.
Yeah, I mean, other than maybe the next game that we're going to be talking about. So apparently, there's a rumor that Metroid Prime Trilogy is coming to Switch. I believe the rumor. I don't know what the timing is going to be like, but I don't see why it wouldn't.
Well, if it's going to be a port of the trilogy rather than, each game individually, like the original Wii release of Metroid Prime 3, then I think there was like a hell changed to a heck or something, or a darn changed to a damn, or vice versa. So 0 out of 10 is what I'm saying. It's like in Smash Brothers Melee, the DK rap. He's one hell of a guy. And then in Brawl, one heck of a guy. Nope, fuck this entire game. It's gone. I broke the disc in half and I threw it away.
Well, longtime listeners will know that Metroid Prime as a trilogy is up there with my favorite game of all time. It's if I'm going to pick what my favorite game of all time is, it's either going to be Metroid Prime, like the whole trilogy. Like I know
Heroes.
It's not one game, but who cares? It tells one cohesive story, so I don't give a shit. And Gunstar Heroes.
Yeah, I've only ever played Prime 1, but I watched a friend of ours play a bunch of 2 and 3 in college. I gotta say, 3 was very clever with its the grapple beam where you're ripping shields away from enemies. That was the coolest thing I'd ever seen at the time.
The third one has probably the best, some of the best Wii control, like implementation of motion controls that I've ever seen.
It just looked so clever.
More Heroes.
I was going to mention No More Heroes. Yeah, charging your battery is by far the best use of the motion controls I've ever seen.
Yeah, just slamming people while you flail. And
no. Charging your beam saber where you look super dignified.
Yes.
That's all you need.
Yeah, but Metroid Prime Trilogy is amazing. I have been waiting for a fourth one for a very long time. I'm not optimistic in seeing it anytime soon, or whether it's going to be good. But
at least you got Dread.
Well, Dread looks good, so I don't care. We Dread was a DS game originally, so it's really funny that it's coming out.
Yeah, in one of the Prime games or one of the DS games, there was mention in like a log somewhere, like, Project Dread. So like this has been like, I forgot what people said, 13 or 14 years in the making.
Yeah. It's like StarCraft Ghost coming out like out of nowhere.
Yeah, we did it. We finally did it.
And the lead up isn't bad at all. Like it's a couple months from release, like the reveal of it. So yeah. I mean, they had been working on it for a really long time already. So, and by a company who's already experienced the Metroidvanias, they are the only Metroidvania company. Technically. They've made Metroid and Castlevania games. They're the only company that's done both.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, which is kind of funny because I do like the remake of 2. It's probably their best one out of the bunch. But yeah, the new one does look really, really good. But yeah, Metroid Prime Trilogy. I will buy this I still have all my original copies on GameCube and Wii, and then I bought the trilogy again on Wii because why the hell not? So I would buy this yet again if it were on Switch.
Yeah, I got the trilogy version.
If I could play my favorite game on a current system, I'm all for it. So. Moving on from that, Strictly Limited opened up pre-orders for Rolling Gunner plus the Overpowered DLC. This is, again, one of the best shmups to come out in a very long time. It is very beginner accessible while also being really good for experts as well. It started off as a Dojin title, a fan title just made for PC. I think just released on at Comiket, or just like any other Dojin game, and it eventually got to Switch. And the Switch version, a lot of people are saying, is the definitive version because the graphics are better. Which is kind of funny considering the Switch version is the graphics are better.
The PS4 can't quite keep up.
Well, there is going to be a PS4 version as well now, which is awesome as well. But so maybe the PS4 version will be the best overall. But yeah, I'm really excited because in the U.S. we haven't had a physical. In the West, we haven't had a physical version of this, and I don't think any of them have the overpowered DLC on it, which is very essential. Apparently, that version's really good. So I'm just really excited for that. This is definitely something I'm going to want to pre-order, even though I already have a copy of it. I might just get it for PS4 this time around because I already have it for Switch digitally. So, and moving on from that, just some more shmup stuff. Cotton Reboot is finally out on Tuesday and has a pretty widespread physical release. It's not like a limited run game pre-order kind of situation. You can buy it off of Amazon, which is pretty fantastic if you ask me. I think it might be limited run subsidiary that that puts out retail games. They have a
maybe
company.
I could be wrong about this, but I think Strictly Limited is also doing some kind of version of its release, perhaps.
Yeah, they have some kind of sub company that not too many people know about. That they put stuff out on other distributed games. Yeah, they have I think it's called Actil. Maybe
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that LRG has collaborated with other companies before, but I don't know.
PM Studios, maybe. But yeah, the Cotton Reboot is going to be easily accessible, which Strictly Limited did put out a version, but this is it's by Einen Games. Yeah, Einen Games, which they put out Crosscode, Bubble Bobble, For Friends.
Yeah, they have similarly sized boxes. I got Crosscode off of them.
Yeah, Umahara Kawase Bazooka, Space Invaders Forever, and they're also putting out Darius Burst EX Plus, and Wonder Boy, Asha and Monster World.
Okay. Yeah, I ordered that, I believe, from that. I forgot where I ordered that from, but I got that as well.
Okay, cool. So yeah, they are also putting out Ninja Saviors, which is awesome.
Again?
Well, apparently, this is a widespread release that you could find on Amazon, which is pretty cool.
That's cool, because that was Strictly Limited exclusive as far as physical is concerned.
Well, Strictly Limited is technically a European release. So,
they're in Germany.
Yeah, so this would have ESRB on it and everything. If that is
that's pretty sexy. Yeah, I was gonna say there are some collectors who really want that consistency.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer it, but I'm not going to get my panties in a twist as long as
that's the thing. Yeah, that's there are certain things where I have my limits on. Like I've mentioned this before, I like physical games, but I'm not paying that for Tron Bon. I'll pay $6 on fucking PS Store. But similarly, take the Danganronpa trilogy for example. NISA offered that, and that was in store shelves as well. Now it's very expensive. The PAL version was not. I picked that one up.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, Ninja Saviors, I missed that on Strictly Limited, and it is one of my favorite beat-em-ups of all time. It's a brilliant game.
And it got the, I forgot which came first, Ninja Saviors or Wild Guns Reloaded.
Wild Guns was first, yeah.
It was first. So Ninja Saviors got the Wild Guns treatment in that HD widescreen, obviously, and 2 additional characters. The difference is that you have to unlock these characters. Wild Guns just has them. And by the
Yeah.
way, both new characters in Wild Guns actually play a bit differently from the regular two, and in Ninja Saviors, all the characters play a bit differently, but the ones you unlock, the first one is noticeably different, and the one for beating hard mode is crazy different. So that's pretty interesting.
Well, I already have the official Natsume release of Wild Guns, so I really wanted to get for PS4. So I wanted to get Ninja Saviors as well for PS4, and I'll get
Yeah,
Kiki Kai Kai when that comes out as well.
yeah, I'll go for that too. Like
Yeah,
those are all three of those are incredibly expensive if you want the actual Super Nintendo versions, but these new
and these
versions are better anyway
they're better.
with more
They're better in
content.
every way.
Yeah, more
Every way
content.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and they're 4-player, or at least Wild Guns is. So
Was it
yeah.
4-player?
I
I know
think
there are 4 characters, but I
Wild
forgot
Guns
if it
is
was 4
4-player.
player. But maybe it
Yeah.
is. It's
But
definitely
anyway,
2-player, but I don't remember.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm all over this kind of stuff. Cotton reboot. Pick that up. I think it's the first Cotton game to ever get an official U.S. release that I can think of.
Did we even have more than one Cotton game in the U.S.? Like the TurboGrafx game was all I could think of.
Well, there is one for the Super Famicom that is unique. There are 2 for the Saturn. There's one for the Dreamcast. One for
Well,
the
no,
Mega
I know
Drive.
there's a bunch of Cotton games, but America
Yeah.
only ever got like one of them, didn't it?
If we got any of them at all, it was the TurboGrafx one.
We definitely got that because I
Okay.
remember that store that we used to go to. It no longer exists. Game Zombie.
Oh yeah.
They had that in their like expensive game case. And
Gotcha.
it's like,
Yeah,
you
I have
have
the
this?
Japanese. I have the PC Engine version, so I didn't.
Yeah, I
have,
remember. I
the
remember
American
you talking to the guy behind the counter about that. You're like, oh, I have it. He's like, do you have the American one though? It's like, good question.
one. But yeah, yeah. My point is that every single Cotton games ends up being worth a lot of money. So
Yeah,
just
yeah,
pre-order it because this is also the best version of Cotton there is.
sure.
There is the reboot version of the game, and they also remade the X68000 version of the game to be
Oh
a
wow.
definitive version of the original game if you want like the old school graphics and music. So if it has both styles, like the pixelated and also the updated, so go for it. It is going to be the best version of Cotton at the very least, and it may end up being something that's worth something someday as well. So I think that's it's a really really cool item, especially since they did a definitive version of the OG version of it. So like before this, there was no definitive version of Cotton because the XCC 8000 version had, I believe, inferior music and but had additional levels or better bosses or something, and they combined everything.
Nice.
So it has like the good music and it has like all the extra content of whatever version has extra content. So
I love when stuff like that happens.
yeah, they did it top notch, and then they did the reboot version, which has different scoring mechanics. So I'm excited for both. Moving on from that, Arcade Archives just put out a obscure arcade game called Darwin 4078. So this game and its sequel, Super Real Darwin. Super Real Darwin is actually already on the Switch, but this is out on the Switch now. So these games are known for like the very interesting mechanic. The reason why it's called like Darwin is like your ship like evolves over time. It like
Oh,
yeah, it has a weird upgrade system where your spaceship like evolves. So I just wanted to mention it because it's interesting. It has also some really cool music. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And Tau Plan, or M2 revealed their first Tau Plan arcade garage game, which is going to be Tiger Heli, or Kyokyo Tiger, I think is the Japanese name. So a lot of you probably know Tiger Heli as one of like the worst shmups on the NES, because it was a Micronix game. which is like one of the worst like early developers for the NES. They made like the bad version of Ghosts and Goblins for the NES. And,
oh no!
they also made 1942, which was also a bad game. Unfortunately, the early Capcom games, until you hit Mega Man, I think the original Mega Man is like the first one that was made in house. And then I think like Section Z and Gunsmoke, all the early Capcom games started being good at that point.
Legally distinct gun dot smoke.
Yeah, Commando was good, but yeah, the first couple Capcom games were not great, and they weren't even like good versions of what they were trying to represent. But they also made Tiger Heli, and boy, is that not a good representation of the original arcade game either. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty crazy release, even by M2 standards. And I'm not even sure I like it, which is, M2 is known for making like these Criterion Edition kind of things, like the Sega Ages collection and all that stuff. And they do it to the nines. Like I've always talked about how awesome they are for doing it to the nines. Like they added like new songs to Outrun. When they ported that, they added
that's
like,
ridiculous.
The end boss to Space Harrier from the Sega Master System version back into the arcade game, right? Like they've done crazy crap. They they are putting only one game on this disc. It's $80, and
Jesus.
Listen to why it's $80 though. And I understand it. I don't want it. I want the one game. I want the arcade version, but they are porting every. They are emulating every console version of Tiger Heli along with the arcade version.
This would be great if I were making one of my version comparison videos. Oh, it's all on one disc.
Yeah, but you don't want to play any of the other ones other than the arcade one in this case.
But for research.
I understand there are certain games that have unique content on their console counterparts, like Merc's. The Capcom game, the Genesis version has like an entire adventure mode, which is awesome. Yeah, I understand that. It's distinct from the arcade version, but why wouldn't you want that on something? But you're emulating this Micronix shit NES version of this game, for what reason? Who is this for?
For Tiger Heli completionists.
It's not even for me. And I'm their primary audience. I'm going to buy it, but I'm not gonna like it. Other shmup fans were actually complaining about it because they were like, you could just release a whole bunch of Taoplan arcade ports onto one disc instead, and it would be the same amount of work. And we wouldn't have to pay $80 a pop, and you might have a chance of actually putting them all out. Whereas with this, it's most likely not going to sell well. So God knows if they'll do a second one, right? So there are many other Taoplan games that are worth your time and also worth their time, because there are a lot of Taoplan games that were either never ported or were only ported to FM Towns Marty or some shit, obscure shit, like the X68000 or whatever, instead of the Genesis, you would expect. So it's kind of a shame. I hope that isn't a sign of things to come from them, because they're going too hard. You know what I mean?
It's just only from now on, just only Tiger Heli.
Yeah, I don't even want this. It's too much. I can understand, hey, when back in the day they did the treasure box for the PS2, and I appreciated that they had the Game Gear version of Gunstar Heroes, because that's not exactly easy to find, and it also has a unique level on it I thought that was cool, but it also included all the other games. It was a 3-game thing and all the versions of those 3 games. This is only 1 game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was Gunstar Heroes, Alien Soldier, and Dynamite Heli, which are all good on their own. So this is a shame. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Also, you broke this next one to me. Why don't you go ahead on that one?
Yeah, this was a weird one. This is like,
Yeah.
this isn't for me, but for a lot of people, this is the best of both worlds. But Touhou has,
Oh,
you know,
you didn't break this one to me.
no, I really didn't. Which is why I was wondering why you said that I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But we may as well just do that anyway. But
Sure.
Touhou famously is released on all sorts of stuff by a bunch of different people because the original dev considers just any Touhou game released to be like official and canon, which is kind of awesome. But what's interesting is that Cave, the studio that is famous for making shooters, is doing an official Touhou game. So Cave is doing Touhou. So get ready for probably the hardest shooter ever made.
Yeah, they're Cave is of course famous for the Dodonpachi series and Espikaluda and Mushihime-sama. Those are like their biggest ones, and Death Smiles.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is really interesting that like the two big names in bullet hell are getting together. It'll probably be the hardest game ever. I think this will be the first game that Cave has made for like a mainstream platform outside of mobile since Dodaipachi Saidaojo.
What was that released on?
That was a 360 game.
Okay, because I was also going to mention Death Smiles got the 360 treatment, but I think they might have been Japan only.
Yeah, but the one that I mentioned was a Japan only game. So,
Okay.
They made a, what is it, the 4th or 5th Dodonpachi game, depending on what games you count. Because there's like ones that were made by other companies that a lot of people don't count. So yeah, what is it? Dodonpachi. Yeah, it goes Donpachi, Dodonpachi. No, it goes Donpachi, Donpachi 2, Dodonpachi. Donpachi 2 is the one that people don't necessarily count. Yeah. And Dondonpachi Daiojo, Dondonpachi Resurrection, and then Dondonpachi Sai Daiojo. Yeah, so Sai Daiojo is the last one they made. It was in 2012. So yeah, they haven't made a new mainstream like console PC game since that, and except for ports of their previous titles. So, like Mushihime-sama just made it to Switch, for instance, but Dangan Feverin and S-Braid finally made it to consoles, and Ketsui made it to console as well. But yeah, they've only made mobile games, like as far as new games are concerned. So, a new game from them, and also like a Touhou game. That's really interesting. So we'll see what they come up with. But this next one was actually from you. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, this is something that I might actually go for, but Super Robot Wars 30, because I think wasn't it something with like a 30th anniversary of something?
I would believe that there were 30 of them, though.
Yeah, no kidding. There's a million of these things. But not only is that actually making it to the West, because you never know with this series, because Harmony Gold has been a piece of shit for decades. But not only is
they're loosening up.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't say is. I said has been, because it's been awful. But yeah, they've been loosening up. But not only is it coming to the West, it's coming to Steam. So finally, it's gonna get a much larger audience than it otherwise would have. Because lately they've been on like Vita, and that was already pretty niche. And a lot of the games have been Japanese only because of this one company being a piece of shit. So we're finally getting our chance.
The most prominent ones have been like the two GBA games, which had original characters.
Yeah.
And also the DS game, which is like a sequel to that. Those two. So, like those are the most prominent ones in the United States, and the rest have been mostly for people that know how to read English or read Japanese or
Yeah.
have played fan translations. So
I just want to see because I know that the games have had this in the past. I want to see if this new one has the Big O because I just like that mech. I just like it.
it's cool.
It's very slow, but oh man, it's so awesome.
Do you know if Super Robot Wars 30 will have English support, or is it just getting released on Steam in its Japanese form?
If it's coming to Steam, I would assume it's in English.
You can't always assume that.
I mean, well, no one's gonna buy it then.
Yeah, because well, Steam does allow you to release in just your native language, and that's happened a few times. Like Touhou games are released like that.
Yeah, but with Touhou, you could just like I don't know how many people are playing these various shooter games with a story anyway. If you happen to follow it, then good for you.
Yeah, but there's games like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell you're gonna play that. And Super Robot Wars, like it's an RPG. Like it's not just flavor. You're gonna need to know what you're doing with menuing and stuff like that. Touhou, figure out what each of your two buttons does, and you're good.
Yeah, I'm really interested to hear about this, even though it's not my jam.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more interested in like Namco Cross Capcom, which we never got, but Project Cross Zone, which we did. Super Robot Wars is that, except with
no,
giant robot.
English. This is in English.
Yeah, it would be like there'd be an uproar if it weren't. But Super Robot Wars is Project Cross Zone if it were like if all the characters were giant robots from various anime and manga. The Gurren Lagann, the Big O, Evangelion. Yeah.
I can name them all because I'm looking right at them.
Here we go. Here we go.
Super Electromagnetic Robot Combattler 5, or V.
Oh, of course, my favorite.
Mobile Suit Gundam, Mobile Suit Z Gundam.
Of course. You have to have those.
A bunch of Gundam here.
Yeah.
Heavy Metal L Game. I don't know this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Police J Decker. What? King of Braves, the King of Kings.
Oh, fuck. That's
Geiger.
Awesome.
Go Geiger, yeah.
Yeah, Gal Geiger. That is awesome.
The Code Geass
I forgot that was mechs, because I only really saw the first episode of that where it was more about the people, but yes, okay, yeah, Code Geass.
Getter Robo Armageddon.
I've heard of Getter Robo.
Mazinger Z, which is popular.
That's rad, yeah. I think that might be the one with, what was that the one with, like, the rocket punch? Was that the one that, like, started that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an old one.
Like the fist that flies at you? Yeah.
Mazin Kaiser?
I believe I've seen Mazin Kaiser's skull, but I'm assuming it's somewhat similar.
This one I'm surprised at because I didn't know it had mecha in it. Magic Knight Ray Earth.
Yeah, I never followed that, so I had no idea.
The Gun X Sword.
It makes me think of like Sakura Wars, like, oh, the dating game. Like, no, there's mechs all over the place.
Gun Cross Sword. Never heard of that.
I've heard the name, but I don't know what it is.
Majestic Prince.
Don't know.
Knights and Magic and SSSS Gridman.
SSSS Gridman is relatively new, and I heard it was very popular when it came out.
Okay. Well, these are some big names. There's nothing to sneeze at.
There's a lot of big names. Do they have the Big O?
No, that was it.
They don't have Gurren Lagann or Big O? Man.
Yeah.
Alright, but that really is a banger lineup, and like, if I can't play as the Big O, then I'm playing as Gao Gaigar. That's fucking sweet.
There are two Gao Gaigar.
What are they?
The King of Braves Gao Gaigar Final, and the King of Kings Gao Gaigar versus Betterman.
Okay, because I know that there's kind of like a universe, like Captain Harlock and Galaxy Express 39, and like they're not. I don't know if they're necessarily in canon with each other, but they're sort of like. I think the King of Braves has like a universe, so I would follow the King of Braves Gao Gaigar.
Yeah, no, this looks really sweet. I mean, the illustrations are top notch.
Oh, by the way, if you ever wanted to hear Link from the Zelda series talk a lot, then watch Gao Gaigar.
Oh, really? Is his voice actor?
Yeah, he's the guy. You can hear him say words.
That's awesome.
You can hear him talk in Soul Calibur, but it's a fighting game. He only has so many things to say. Gao Gaigar, he has words, he has lines. It's great. And he's super passionate. He's super intense when he does his special moves. It's great.
Nice. Moving on from this, I just wanted to say that Skyward Sword HD is out. It is the best version of Skyward Sword by far. I've been playing it.
Sure.
It is a lot snappier in the beginning, and it does still kind of feel like a vestigial Wii game, but they did the best they could, and it works well, and it's a good game. So I especially really like the characters in this game. There are some unique like townspeople and things that aren't in any other Zelda game.
And also people feel like they have personalities. Like
Yeah,
Ocarina
really
of Time was kind of the start of that. Link to the Past barely, but Ocarina of Time was kind of really more.
I would say Link's Awakening is. But...
that makes sense. Yeah, you got familiar with Marin and the other characters, but Ocarina of Time started to be like a bigger world where like there's the Cuckoo Lady and like little quirks like that. But like Skyward Sword is where they really started to feel like people. Majora's Mask leaned a little more into
Twilight
it.
Princess had it too. But
yeah, but like it did, but like there was both it and Majora's Mask, there was a general vibe of melancholy where like except for minigame stuff, it felt like yeah, but you see what's happening in the world. But like Skyward Sword just feels like it could, if they were to make a TV show of Zelda, it would be off of Skyward Sword.
Oh, 100%.
Or possibly Wind Waker, but Skyward Sword.
I think it's actually really important to go back to Skyward Sword because the influences that they took from that to make Breath of the Wild are actually very great.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild has real characters as well. And
Breath of the Wild even takes like the activity meter or what the stamina meter from Skyward Sword. There's a lot of mechanics that end up being in Skyward Sword in Breath of the Wild that are taken directly out of Skyward.
Does Breath of the Wild take any inspiration from Link's crossbow training? Any plot revelations from that one?
Just the moblins.
Okay.
Lots of moblins. But I just wanted to say that I'm enjoying it. But yeah, it does feel a little Wii-like.
Sure.
Even though it's all mapped to your controller, but if you could get past that, there's some really cool things in there. The pirate boss is one of my favorite Zelda bosses ever. I love that guy. I don't know if you've ever seen him before, but
no, I'm only really familiar with the imprisoned and that crazy like four-armed swordsman robot boss thing.
Oh yeah, no, that thing's cool too. But yeah, the I'm just gonna call him the pirate because everything else about him is way cool, and I don't want to spoil that for anybody.
Sure.
The pirate that you fight in the desert is one of the my favorite Zelda things ever. It's really fun. And I'm a lot less frustrated with this game because when I played it before, the controls just didn't work for me, and that was one of the only times that ever happened to me on the Wii. So it was other than
Stone Keep Bones of the Ancestors.
Stone Keep 2.
to be fair, that gameplay is kind of alright. Maybe you had the bar at some weird height or something, but I will admit that do a semicircle forward, do a semicircle backward. It's so easy to cast the wrong spell in that game.
Yeah, nah. Moving on. Capcom is reportedly patching Resident Evil Village on PC because people found out that DRM is actually tanking its performance. Wow.
Oh.
So people were pirating the game even if they had already bought it because it was running better.
May as well.
But yeah,
I wonder if people had done that en masse, if Capcom would have been well, everybody bought our game, and then everybody has 0 hours logged in playtime. What?
Well, at least they're reacting, which is good.
Yeah.
Can't say that all the time, for everybody, and they're doing it quickly. They announced it quickly.
Yeah.
So that's more than what you could say than a lot of other companies. Also, apparently, that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl that we mentioned last week is a real thing, and they officially announced it very soon after we had talked about it, which is good. And what's really neat about it is it's being made by a company that is used to making this type of game. They've made like an indie, Smash Brothers like game
Sure.
before this one, so they know what they're doing. And they also revealed a good chunk of the characters in the game, and it's pretty neat. Did you see the characters that are going to be in this?
No, I've only seen memes. Like I saw a thing of like Nigel Thornberry where somebody called it like Super Smashing Brothers, stuff like that.
Well, I'm going to talk about them all. So they revealed Danny Phantom, which is a popular with probably people that are a little younger than us.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of show that I probably would have liked, but I just missed it.
We were too old for it.
Yeah.
But even for guys that watch cartoons, we were just too old for it. But this one was pretty interesting, and my wife was excited. Helga from Hey Arnold.
All right. I mean, if anyone's going to be a playable fighter from Hey Arnold, it probably would be her.
Yep. Invader Zim, which is a good
of course
pick. A great pick. This is cool because people forget who owns them right now, but Nickelodeon owns the Ninja Turtles, so they have Leonardo and Michelangelo so far.
Sure.
I don't see why they wouldn't add Raphael and Donatello.
Well, remembering what games those turtles have been in, this obviously means that we're going to get DC characters and Mortal Kombat characters as well.
Well, it's all probably the same company. Viacom and it's Viacom AT&T owns all of Warner Brothers, and Nickelodeon and MTV and all that stuff. Lincoln Loud, which is from Loud House, which must be a newer show.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, and Lucy Loud, his sister, which I don't know about. Nigel Thornberry.
There he is.
Who was played by Tim Curry, wasn't he?
Smashing. He has a very distinctive voice.
This one's interesting. So, from the Klasky Chupo
Klasky Chupo.
Classic Chupo.
Is it Chupo?
It's Chupo.
Wow.
Oblina from Real Monsters.
I don't remember the name, but I do remember Real Monsters.
She's the one that looks like the worm from Beetlejuice. She's black and white.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Patrick Star from SpongeBob.
There you go.
Sense. And SpongeBob. So, yeah. And Sandy Cheeks.
Okay, 3 characters then. All right.
Not Squidward, though, or Gary.
Well, he's too grumpy to feel like joining. It makes sense. Fuck y'all, you play it.
This character makes sense, but might be controversial depending on how much you know about the goings on behind the scenes with this. But Powdered Toast Man from Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go more into that. And probably the only Rugrats character that you could put in here.
Stuart Pickles.
The
grandpa.
What was he mumbling?
Oh yeah, why are you making pudding at like 2 a.m. or whatever? Because I've lost control of my life. It's like that's so real.
But Reptar.
Okay. Yeah. I still like the grandpa though.
Yeah.
Like where have you been, Dad? Oh, I was just with the friends playing Russian roulette. Oh, did you win? You don't know how Russian roulette's played, do you? It's like, Jesus.
That actually happened in Rugrats?
I think so.
Oh, Jesus.
I feel like I remember that. I should look that up.
Wow. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that just because, like, it's cool to talk about the characters, even if I won't buy it, this kind of thing,
Sure.
It's just fun to talk about. Also, Digital Eclipse, the company that puts out a lot of classic game compilations. They are most known for the early Mega Man Legacy Collection.
Okay.
And also, they put out the Disney Afternoon Capcom Collection, SNK, 40th Anniversary, the Street Fighter Collection. They put out quite a few. They even put out the Aladdin Lion King collection as well, I think.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, but they're basically famous for they're probably the best of the emulation houses for official emulation houses for the West. They put out a kind of like a Kickstarter-ish thing on this website called Republic.co, which is they were asking for investors. So it's not a Kickstarter; it's an actual investment in the company. You apparently like buy shares and of the project that they're going to do, and you get in on the profit share on it. They've gotten funded over $7 million to work on future projects, which is really, really amazing. Because there are a lot of really cool people working for this company. Frank Cifaldi, Chris Kohler, Dan Scanlon, who's the Blink guy, like that's famous, the famous meme.
Oh yeah, that what? What?
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh god, like Blink.
Yeah, are you what? Are you serious?
Exactly that guy. He used to be from Giant Bomb. That's how he's famous. But yeah, I mean, they put out really quality material, and I really would love. They said they needed to put this out to see if they could start just working on future projects, and they said that because of this, they're going to be able to double their capacity,
Nice.
which means they can hire new people and invest in R&D and things like that. This is really exciting. I think this is really cool. And they've been blown away. I'm kind of friendly with a couple of the guys on Twitter. I post in their stuff, and they react and interact with me. So I'm just really happy for them. Really, really cool. Moving on from that, Streets of Rage 4 Mr. X Nightmare DLC is out. I haven't had a chance to play it. Have you?
No, but apparently you can play as Estelle, that cop who uses Streets of Rage 1 summons against you, which was like a bit of fan service I never thought I'd see. That was amazing.
That's really cool. I thought she was kind of a more prominent character than like most. So
well, yeah, she's like I think she's the only boss in the game. Well, both Mr. both. Well, no. What I was gonna say is like you fight Mr. and Miss Y twice each, like once individually, and then they're together for the final boss. But Estelle, I was going to say Estelle's the only other boss that you fight 2 times.
Yeah. She's kind of like one of those nemesis kind of, and she doesn't want to, she's kind of like a reluctant,
well, yeah, I was going to mention that, because she's with the police, and you technically are not. You are either random people, like Skate or whatever,
yeah,
or you're Axel and Blaze, who are ex-cops. So you're just going around and beating up thugs, not on police missions. So she's like, guys, come on. So eventually, when shit really starts to go south, she's like, all right, I'll help you out.
Yeah. I think Adam is a cop. He's like probably the only one.
Is he still?
Yeah, I think he's still.
I mean, I didn't know. It's been fucking 20 years.
Yeah, but I think that was always the case in like Streets of Rage 1. He was like the only one that was actually a cop.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm excited to play that whenever that comes around. So moving on from that, I just wanted to mention this real quick. Mr. Has something new and cool happening in it. The person working on the Sega Saturn core finally has like large blocks of data finally like loading up from the fake CD drive.
Sure.
Through the FPGA. I am so excited. I already have a Mister set up, and so playing Saturn games off of a Mister sounds like a dream. There's also no easy way to play have an upscaled experience, native HDMI experience for Saturn. So it's really exciting. I think this is going to be really, really cool, and potentially the best way to play Saturn to begin with. So I'm excited. This next one is yours.
Yeah, this is very brief because I don't really know specifics about it, but apparently there's going to be some sort of I don't know what it is, like anniversary thing or special kind of thing, but One Piece has had crossovers with other entities before. There was one. Oh, this is gonna kill me now that I'm forgetting this. It has crossed over with DBZ before, but even in
Battle
the
System done.
no, like for like an OVA or something.
Oh,
like,
wow,
there's
really?
been like anime, but also I think like just as part of the series, just as like a wink. What was the name of that food show? Like Toriko?
Oh,
Like
I don't know
there
that.
was something with that. But this, I don't know in what capacity this is gonna work, but in some way, just Waldo is gonna show up. Waldo.
Oh,
And
you aren't referring to him in his
yeah, Wally.
European.
Yeah, where's
There you
Wally? So I wonder if the
Where's
whole
Waldo?
I wonder if the whole gimmick is you just like don't see him and you have to actively look for him.
Find Monkey D. Luffy in the sea of straw hats.
Yeah, there's like 1,000 people that look like Luffy, but they're not. It's like that part in the whole Cake Island arc where the Mirror Woman Broly takes a bunch of animals and just transforms them into like the Straw Hats, like Luffy, and it's just like which one's the real one? And you're like, well, I could tell by their behavior, but there's so damn many of them, and they all look so similar. Like, oh my god.
Lotus, I think I know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like a crossover, but like it's a really bad NES game, just like the
Oh no.
Where's Waldo for NES?
No,
It's
I was
really
gonna say
terrible.
I was gonna say I know what's gonna happen is Waldo's nemesis Oddlaw is gonna cause mischief, and Waldo will need Luffy's help to stop him.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm talking about, by the way?
I don't know who Oddlaw is.
Oddlaw is a real thing. He was in some of my books back in the day. He's like Wario Waldo. You know, he has like yellow and purple stripes or something like that. Like,
Really?
they dress otherwise they dress the same.
I mean, I knew there was a wizard.
Wizard Whitebeard.
Yeah, and a female companion, right, and a dog.
I remember the dog. I don't remember the female companion.
Yeah, they had a Saturday morning cartoon show.
Oh,
at some
what?
point, too. Yeah.
But yeah, no. You know what we need to do is have Wizard Whitebeard and his magic interact with Edward Newgate Whitebeard with his giant fuck off glaive and his earthquake powers that could literally end the world if he really wanted to, and see what happens.
It's really funny because like I don't think kids get the novelty of those types of books like anymore. Like we when we were kids, like we were entertained by really super detailed like gigantic like double page.
Yeah, like the Magic Eye
Illustration.
books, the Hidden Object. I forgot what they were called. The Hidden Object books.
Sure.
Can you find the?
I Spy. Is that
Thank
what they were
you,
called?
I Spy. Yes. The highlights magazines. Can you find the items hidden in this image? But and
Seems
the
very quaint.
yeah, and the Waldo stuff where it was these giant pictures that had a lot of jokes in the art. I remember one specifically where there
Yeah,
was
there were like little skits going on between like a lot of the other characters. on
yeah,
every
I
single page.
remember specifically there was one where there's gold mine, and people are going into it and coming out empty. And next to the gold mine, there's a thing that says "Gold yours," and everyone's coming out with like gold, like yes, like stupid stuff like that. But you have to find Waldo, and I remember the last page of one of the Waldo books was like 1,000 Waldos, and they outright tell you the real Waldo lost his shoes, so you got to look for the Waldo among a million Waldos that only has socks on. You're like, this is so fucking hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's harder than you think.
It's
like,
yeah. For a guy
it's
who
harder
wears
than
red
you
and
think.
white stripes, he's still easy to miss because of how much is going on in these images.
So like these books spawned like an entire like genre of books, like the fine books.
Yeah, I remember.
Like,
I remember there were 3 Waldo books that I remember the titles of. Where's Waldo? Of course.
the Great
Fi-
Waldo Search.
The Great Waldo Search. Find Waldo Now. I remember one time.
I had the yellow one. Whatever.
That might have been the Great Waldo Search.
Yeah.
But I remember back in college, so this is like the mid 2000s, I saw like just an internet meme online that really had me rolling. And it was Find Voldo Now. And it's just Soul Calibur Voldo with his claws just on the Waldo cover. Like, this is awesome. There's Voldo.
There he is.
Voldo, is that you? Oh, it is you.
Humping at your face.
You're 50. Why are you still doing this?
Rolling up into a tire.
He's the most spry character in the entire game, and he's over 50 years old.
Yeah.
And he's blind.
What was the fourth one? The Hollywood one? Is it?
I don't remember. I only remember Where's Waldo, Find Waldo Now, and The Great Waldo Search, and I believe it was in that order.
Yeah. No, I think there was a fourth one that was like a dark blue one that was like a Hollywood one.
Yeah, I might not have seen that one.
But yeah, there have been plenty others, I'm sure, since then, because it's a media franchise. But I remember having a bunch of the books that kind of like tried to take the steam out of it. You know what I mean? Like the kind of copies.
Sure.
I had this one called Detect Donald because he was a detective in a fedora and a trench coat.
Sure.
What was cool about that one is you weren't just supposed to find him; you were supposed to help like him find clues that were hidden.
Oh, that's clever. Because with the Waldo books, there was Waldo, but it's like, where's the wizard? Where's Oddlaw, etc., etc. Like,
they gave you like a big long checklist. Like you have to find a whole bunch of stuff, which is I appreciated it. And there were a bunch of like goofy jokes, just like you said. Yeah. Like one of them was in the front of a diner and said, "Sorry, we're open." Like that kind of crap.
Yeah. Although actually though, now that you mention this stuff, I don't remember the name, but there was a game I saw on Steam, which is basically a Waldo game, except it's not Waldo, where there's a bunch of silly cartoon characters, and a lot of them look very similar, so that's the trick, and you have to find a specific thing that gives you clues that can kind of help you narrow down where it is, because the maps are huge, but you could zoom in and out to scan better, so it's not as popular as it used to be, but it still exists in some capacity.
I also had a Spider-Man one.
Oh, that's cool.
And what was really neat is when you got done find the things that it told you to on each page. At the very end, it said, "Hey, I need your help. We actually the Green Goblin has a bomb, and we need to go back to all the locations, and you need to find the keys that he has on each page."
That's cool.
To disarm it, and if you do that, you win, that kind of thing. So they gave you one last extra hard challenge to go back through the whole book.
I think I had something similar, like a Spider-Man book, except the main villain throughout that thing was like Calypso, and there were... Yeah, I know, I didn't even know who the character was at the time, and there were like a bunch of characters that like I didn't really know who they were, like B-listers. I also had a brilliant...
Yeah, Mysterio was in this one, just like, his normal characters. Yeah.
But I think there was also there was a brilliant art book called Puzzle Island, where you were looking for particular things on this gorgeous island, which the art in the book was supposed to be the paintings that the author of the book was making while he was at these locations in the island. And then similarly to what you mentioned with Spider-Man, at the end of the book, it was like, you may have noticed that there were letters surrounding each page of the book. Like, what I want you to do is find this particular thing and see which two letters line up and make coordinates for them, and you could spell out a message. It was pretty cool.
That is neat. I'll be interested to see what they do with Monkey D. Luffy and his...
what the hell? I have no idea.
Find the girls in the sea of boobs.
Well, no, there actually was a point in One Piece where Luffy was fighting a guy with a code name, Mr. 3, because there was an organization called Baroque Works where there was like the Misters were numbers and the Misses were like holiday names or days of the week, and Mr. 3, his devil fruit ability was like wax. He ate like the wax fruit, so he could just melt stuff and form sculptures. So after the big fight with him, he tried to like retreat, so he made like 100 like wax sculptures of himself, and he's like, which one's the real me? And Luffy just somehow he just knows, and he just immediately punches the real one, and you're like, oh, that was nothing. Like, where could I be? Like, boom, right there. Like, oh,
it'd be funny if they did reference that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, where's the real Waldo? Oh, that one. Oh, okay.
Took the piss out of them,
Yeah.
didn't you? Also, this is just real quick. I don't know what incapacity that they're going to do this in, but Netflix is apparently interested in offering video games. So
Would this be like the mail thing, or would this be streaming them?
no. This is streaming. Yeah.
Maybe we'll see if it does any better than Stadia, which
I was just gonna say
cannot stop fucking up.
Take this with a grain of salt, because like I don't know whether they're going to do like, casual style games, or iOS style stuff. Like, are we just gonna see Angry Birds on this, or
who
is there
knows?
actually like a thing, So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not like I'm not thinking that it's going to be a major player in any sense of it. Next, I just wanted to mention the new Space Jam is out, the newest entry in the Hoop Sparkly saga. So
yeah, all right.
it's the only other one we're gonna get. I mean,
yeah.
I'm excited for that. Apparently it's kind of a mess of a movie, even more so than the original.
But, I was just gonna say, to be fair, so was the first movie.
Yeah. But whatever. I'll watch it eventually. But yeah, Black Widow is out as well. I definitely recommend Black Widow. You don't need to know much about the Marvel Universe. It's good on its own.
Well, I mean, it would have to be, because it doesn't play a part in like the big saga, because it really can't.
Yeah, I mean, it introduces some new characters that will probably take on. There's basically a new Black Widow. Her sister is introduced in this, so that's pretty cool. It ties in a little bit to the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but not by much. This one also takes place before Infinity War, I believe. So yeah, I think it's supposed to be after Civil War. So like it's out of time as it is. But the characters were really funny. The movie was a lot funnier than I thought it would be. The Red Guardian character is hilarious. Imagine a Russian version of Captain America who, his idol is Captain America, but doesn't want to admit it. So that's always really funny. But yeah, it also had a good message about family and that kind of thing. And Black Widow never really got a chance to shine much. And it kind of, Hawkeye has never had a chance to shine anyway, but he's my least favorite character in the entire MCU, so I really don't care. But this one was good. I definitely recommend it. And this penultimate one, as it were, is on you.
Yeah, brief announcement. I mean, we knew Jojo Part 6, the anime, was happening, and I think it's going to hit Netflix in late September. So there you go, that's the announcement. I want to say the 26th. I might have the date a little off, but it's coming, so I'm very excited. Jolene is one of my favorite JoJos, so I can hardly wait to see this thing animated.
I still need to get through 4. I've been
4 is
enjoying
brilliant.
I haven't had a chance to get through it.
The thing with 4 is so much of it is like episodic, because it's just stuff that happens around town, and the villain, like the main villain, Kira, gets introduced kind of like sort of halfway-ish.
Yeah.
Once he does, though, shit goes down.
Well, I'm excited to get to that, and then 5. I hear so many good things about it from you. So
yeah, 5 was great. Like when I read it in college, for whatever reason, I wasn't super into it, but except for like key moments. But I really like the anime adaptation, so I should probably go back and read the manga again.
I forget, is the 6th one is the last one before the continuity skips, right?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and call it that. Yeah.
Okay, because I know that Steel Ball Run takes place in
Steel Ball Run is like in the 1800s.
Yeah, exactly. It's not.
Actually, that's not true.
It's
the early 20th century, because a car exists.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because the whole thing, it's Cannonball Run, but it's Steel Ball Run. So they're racing across the U.S. And so, like, everybody's on horses, with two exceptions. There's a Native American person who's just like, no, I'll do it on foot. And everyone's like, are you fucking kidding me? And there's a German guy who has a car. And they're like, what? What is this?
I mean, it's no use to you if you can't find a gas station.
Well, that's the thing. The guy stomps everybody in the first leg of the race, and then once the car runs out, like, he's like the first person to lose, or one of the first people, because it's like he can't move. You don't have enough gas to go across the entire U.S. Are you fucking kidding me?
You have to have horses draw you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for this. This is cool. But what is part 6?
Part 6, it's a bit polarizing because
that's what I heard.
Like, because it goes back to Monster of the Week, because the setting I find to be brilliant. It's in a prison.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's right.
You're just trapped with these other people who a lot of them are stand users, and some of this shit gets intense. But it goes back to part 3. Like, it's just Monster of the Week for a while. But the climax is like one of the craziest things to happen in a JoJo climax, and we've seen part 2, so this shit gets nuts.
That's awesome. Last bit of news here. I don't. This has been all over the internet, but unfortunately, there was a high-profile passing, unfortunately, of Markie, a late '80s, early '90s rap personality who was always very fun. I don't know if you know anything about Markie, but
I'm not sure. I'm really bad
for making that song. You got what I need.
Yeah, I don't even know if I know that one.
Oh, it's famously sung poorly in the music video, like on purpose. Like,
that's pretty good.
He was a kind of a comedy like rapper.
Okay.
So like but his most famous song is like off key on purpose, because it's meant to be kind of pathetic, but
okay.
It's really funny. And it's really good. I definitely recommend. Going back and listening to him. He was also a really, really nice guy. Like apparently to everybody. So it's really a big shame he passed away due to diabetes complications. So just really sucks. He wasn't that old. He was 54, I think.
Definitely in the 50s.
So he was young. He was also a really good guy and an upbeat guy and a positive force. He also did some other cool stuff. He was also in Did you ever see Men in Black 2?
In theaters, only the one time.
Okay. Do you remember the beatboxing alien in the post office at the very beginning of the movie?
Oh, I think so. Where like the Men in Black had to beatbox back.
Yes, he was the guy who played the beatbox alien before he turned into an alien.
All right.
So like that Will Smith was beatboxing with.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
Yeah. He's famous. He was like one of the originators of like the proliferation of beatboxing.
Okay.
Well. So that was a big thing that he did. So he was a cool guy, and it's sorely missed. Unfortunately, diabetes is a really terrible disease. So it's bad for a lot of reasons. But yeah. And that's all I have for this week. How about you, Lotus?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, well, that is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture.
The 20...
20, I had to say 20 way too many times at the beginning.
20.
But also we will be talking about manga and anime adaptations of video games. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much everything. Just let me know who you are, please.
And you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, for example, Deadly Premonition has finished uploading, getting in on exclusive live streams, I've recently started Armored Core Project Phantasma, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, like the aforementioned Deadly Premonition, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then please consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince. Yes, that's my name.
Pregnant pauses all around. All right. Well, we'll see everybody on Thursday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.